There is a hell of a lot of items in RuneScape that you want to get along your journey, along your adventure, and it can be quite confusing to know what you should spend your money on. So in this video, we are going to go through some items that everybody should be buying at some point along their journey, and they're all fairly cheap. So we're going to go through some cheap but must-have items that you can go ahead and buy directly off of the Grand Exchange. In most cases, there may be an odd one in here that takes a little bit extra effort, but hopefully this video helps a lot of people out and checking that you do have all of these things, or you did use them in the past, as some of the stuff in here are things that you will use as you are leveling up your account. So for you max players, these will be things that you've already done, been past and whatnot, so don't worry about those specific ones, but the others could absolutely be useful. So anyway, let's jump into this and let's see if you have all of these items. Let me know in the comments if you didn't have any of them and which ones it was. Leave a like if you enjoy, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and even if you're not new, check you are subscribed, because a lot of you guys who watch every single video are not subscribed, so do make sure you check that. Otherwise, let's get started. Okay, so while these won't be for everybody, for every single one of them, there should be a lot of them that most people can go ahead and buy, and we'll get some use out of. We're going to start off strong with one that I think everybody should buy at some point until they can get the upgraded version, and this is going to be the Ring of Fortune. The Ring of Fortune is incredibly good because it only costs around about 1 million GP, and it has sat at this price for as long as I can remember. And what it does is it will give you access to a Grand Exchange teleport unlimited times, like what a Ring of Wealth does, but there's no charges on it. So you can teleport to the Grand Exchange quickly, and it has some okay combat stats for depending on what level you have this at. Of course, it is a luck ring as well, so it's going to give you a better chance at getting rare drops at all bosses before the end of God Wars Dungeon 2. So you can include the God Wars Dungeon 2 bosses and then everything before. I'll put a link in the description so you can see which bosses are actually included in this, as this is tier 2 luck and not tier 3, but this does include some bosses and their rare drops. However, to get the upgraded version, the Luck of the Dwarves, which is a tier 3 ring, that's a lot more expensive, but it will give a increased drop rate at the higher level bosses as well. But that being said, it doesn't matter. This ring is definitely worth the 1 million GP price tag, especially as someone who doesn't have the Luck of the Dwarves available, of course. So having access to teleport to the Grand Exchange whenever you want, you can use this in combat. You can use it like during boss fights to get out quickly. You can use this, I believe, in the wilderness as well up to a certain level, and it's just a really good ring to have access to. It also gives you the chance to get on the rare drop table as well. It doesn't give you the roll at the HSR, but it will give you a roll on all of the other rare drop stuff. So that being said, if you don't have a Luck of the Dwarves and you are just sort of waiting to save up for that, but you also don't have a Ring of Fortune, I would suggest grabbing one of these because they are very useful, and it is definitely something that you want to add to your bank until you can grab that upgrade. The next item is going to be the Ancient Elven Ritual Shard. Now, this isn't the cheapest of all items, but it is still under 5 million GP. So what this will do is basically be a free way to restore prayer points over time forever once you've paid that initial upfront cost, of course. So it's not free totally, but once you've got it, you won't be paying for quite a lot of prayer restores. So this is going to save you a lot of money in the long run, and this does have use for skillers and PVMers as well, because what it's going to do is when you activate it, it will gradually restore your prayer points over time, meaning that when you're doing things like skilling and using the skilling prayers, or when you're doing PVM and you want to reduce the drain rate of your prayer, then this is one way that you can do that, and it's going to reduce the amount of prayer potions or restore potions or anything like that that you're going to use normally, which means you don't have to spend as much money on those potions. So eventually this will pay itself off, as of course this thing does not have any charges either. So once you've bought it once, there's nothing to repair with it, there's no charges for it, there's nothing you have to add to it or anything like that. You just keep it, you put it in your inventory, you take it with you, you right click it, press activate, or you just click it even, and it will activate and it will restore your prayer points over time. So this is definitely something that you should probably grab. I think everybody should grab one of these at one point. I don't really use mine as much as I should. I really should probably use it, but it is definitely worth grabbing hold of, especially for someone doing Slayer. Like if you're leveling Slayer up, it's going to be incredible. If you're doing anything in game that requires prayer, you kind of want to have one of these. It just helps out a lot and saves you a lot of money in the long run. Speaking of items that can save you money in the long run, this is going to be one that kind of just saves you money straight away, and it's going to be the Powder of Item Protections. Now, the way these work is when you scatter one, you get 30 minutes of an extra item protect. You can stack this with your protection prayer as well, meaning if you have a high death cost or a death cost that is fairly high and you're not using a Ring of Death, then you can use this to make sure you reduce that death cost by quite a bit. Now, just make sure that when you save one extra item, using this is going to save you more than the actual cost cost of the actual powder. So the powders cost 500k each, around about that price anyway. So it is worth keeping in mind that these are going to be things that are worth using if it's going to save you enough money for it to be worth your time. So like if you're only going to save you 500k when you actually die, it's not worth using these because it's 500k to get the actual powder anyway. But if you have a death cost of something like, I don't know, 7 or 8 mil, then buying one of these for 500k and using that to bring your death cost down to 4 mil, it will definitely be worth your investment. I will quickly mention as well, if you have 92 divination, you can make Portent of Item Protection. These are incredibly cheap compared to the powders, but of course there is a 92 divination requirement. So I wanted to mention it because it is the better option in my opinion, and you can just use one inventory space to save yourself that. And it also does stack just like this with the item protection prayer as well. So when you're PVMing and you have the powder, scatter the powder, put your item protection prayer on as well, and that way when you die you will save 5 items from death rather than just 3. And of course keep in mind that if you have a ring of death, then these don't matter. Don't use a ring of death and these, because the ring of death will save all your stuff anyway, and I don't want you to be wasting your money using one of these and then also wearing a ring of death. The next item is going to be the Ancient Gizmo Blueprint. This is actually really important to get once you have Invention unlocked and you're starting to work for getting your perks or anything like that, because what the Ancient Gizmo will do is it will give you more slots on your actual perk creation screen, and it will allow you to insert more materials, meaning you have a higher chance at actually getting the perk that you wanted to get, but also unlocks different perks, so higher level perks and different perks that you wouldn't have been able to get without having this. These are on the Grand Exchange for around about 4.5 million GP. So once you have Invention unlocked, 4.5 mil shouldn't be incredibly difficult for you to grab hold of. You want to get this and you don't have any requirement to use it. Just make sure you grab it as quick as you can and use this whenever you're getting perks or anything like that. You don't want to try and get all your perks without this, because it just makes it easier, makes the success rate better. And yeah, make sure you've got one of these. They are incredibly useful, and everyone who uses Invention is going to want one of these at some point in the game. Skillers use perks on their stuff, PVMers use perks on their stuff, so at some point everyone is going to want to buy an Ancient Gizmo Blueprint. So this is a great one to include on here. Our next cheap but incredibly useful items are going to be Power Bursts. Power Bursts are potions that you can use to get temporary bonus effects just at the sip of one potion. Now there's quite a different amount of Power Bursts, but the two I'm going to talk about that I know are going to be incredibly useful are the Acceleration Power Burst and also the Vitality Potion as well. The Vitality Power Burst is going to double your current health when you use one. So if you drink the dose of potion and you are on 5,000 health, you will instantly get 10,000 health, meaning that you basically double up your life points, right? So if you're on max health, which is 9,900, and you drink this, you are basically putting yourself to a lovely 19.8k max HP. So you can tank almost anything in the game in 19.8k HP. These are incredibly useful in PVM, of course, the Vitality Potions, and for anything else you may find that you need to be tanking quite a big hit for. So using these in PVM like Nex in the Ice Prison, or use them at Telos to deal with so much power, or anything that does a lot of high damage and you just can't seem to deal with the thing, you can drink one of these. They only last a few seconds, but if you time it right, then you can tank a hell of a lot of stuff. As for the Acceleration Potion, what this does is when you drink it, it will give you a certain amount of time where your Surge and your Bladed Dive ability cooldowns are instantly reset. This means you can spam the living crap out of Surge and Bladed Dive, and you can just go crazy flying around the map, and this can be really useful in places like running around and doing clues. It could be good for doing quests as well, and it also is really good in places like Elite Dungeons or PVM where you need to be surging quite a lot of times. So anywhere that you want to travel quickly, or anywhere that you want to just be able to use Surge off cooldown, you can take advantage of these Acceleration Potions, take a drink, and you'll get a few seconds just to fly around the map, just like you can see me doing on screen now. Next up is an item that everybody should probably use when they are leveling their Invention, and that is going to be XP capacitors. A lot of people don't know what XP capacitors are, and it's a little bit sad when you don't, because when you find out what they are, that's why it's sad. Because what these do is they increase the amount of XP your items get when they're augmented and you're using them in combat to level them up, or skilling if you have like a fishing rod augmented or something like that. Basically, these are going to increase the actual XP rate that these things level up with and make them level up quicker. You want to have one of these in your inventory. You can buy it on the Grand Exchange. for only around about 2 million GP each, and they are absolutely worth using. They're going to speed up how fast you level things up, meaning you can level invention quicker, or if you just need to level an item up to a certain level to get bone benefits out of perks and stuff, or you want to maybe take a gizmo off of it, that sort of thing, you can definitely use these to speed that up. So along your way, most people probably want to take advantage of these, especially while leveling their invention, if you want faster XP rates. 2 mil per capacitor I think is a pretty decent deal, so when you do get to leveling your invention or you are trying to level up a specific item, then definitely keep these in mind, as they will save you a lot of time, and time is money, so I'd say these are worth it. Next up is an Eldrarune ore box. Eldrarune ore boxes are something you can buy for Grand Exchange as well, and there's no level requirement to use these. What these are useful for is it allows you to store extra ores inside them, meaning you don't have to bank anywhere near as often as if you didn't have one of these. Now, you can get other versions of ore boxes, but if you are a main account and you do have a bit of money spare, it makes sense to just buy an Eldrarune ore box because, well, they all work at all levels. You can use the bronze one, or you can use the steel one, the mithril one, the rune one, whatever, all the way up. But if you can get yourself your hands on an Eldrarune ore box, then you can use it at level 1 mining. Certain levels of mining will increase the amount of ores you can put in this Eldrarune one, but you will be able to store up to 100 of each ore in this without getting any extra mining levels, but once you do unlock them, then it will go up to 120. So if you do have the money laying around, these are actually not that expensive on the Grand Exchange, and you can definitely grab yourself one and use this as the best in slot one from the get-go. You don't have to just get like the one that's from your level. You don't have to think, oh, I'm only level 20 mining, I can only use like, I don't know, a steel one or something like that. Absolutely go ahead, grab yourself an Eldrarune ore box if you have the spare money, because this is going to be way more effective than using one of the other ones. And trust me, you're not going to want to do mining without an ore box if you can get one anyway, because ore boxes are so freaking good. They save you from banking ways more often than normal, as you can put, like I say, 100 ores into this thing without any mining levels and 120 with them, whereas your inventory only holds 28 items. So yeah, it extends your trips a lot, meaning your XP per hour goes up a lot, and also the profit you make per hour as well is also going to increase. Well, that is the items that we're going to cover in this video. I can probably think of another set of items to do in another one, but of course I don't want to make this into a 20-minute video, and I want to kind of keep it a little bit shorter, because my videos, as I know, and you guys tell me all the time, are a little bit on the long side, because I like to ramble as I'm doing right now. Anyway, I hope you all found something useful out of this. Of course, this is sort of targeted towards like lower level players, but also high level players. If there is anything in here that you found useful or didn't know about yet, then let me know in the comments, and I'm glad that it did help if it does. But either way, if you are new around here, then do subscribe to the channel. If you are not new, then check that you're already subscribed to the channel if you're a returning viewer, as of course you're probably going to like the content if you've returned. Other than that, do leave a like on the video. It'll help get pushed to more people, and we want this to be seen by the newer players and keep them in the game, make their game experience a lot easier and more enjoyable. But other than that, thank you to the channel members for your extra support. Your continued support is incredibly valued, and I very much appreciate it. Your names will have been on screen, of course. If anyone else is interested in joining these channel members and getting some perks while you do support the channel, then click the join button, buy a subscribe button, and you can see what perks you do get. Otherwise, thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate it very much, and I will see you all in the next one. See you later, guys. Bye.